You understand yourself. You know your patterns. You can explain exactly why you feel the way you feel. So, why are you still stuck? Welcome to the inner room. This is where we go to understand the parts of yourself nobody taught you how to read. I'm glad you're here. Let's go inside. Because awareness is not the same as change. Most people think self-awareness is the goal. If I understand myself, everything will shift. But that's not what happens. Something quieter happens. Something more frustrating. You become better at explaining your patterns without actually changing them. You can sit with someone and describe your childhood, your triggers, your attachment style with full clarity. And then go home and react the exact same way. Not because you're not trying, but because understanding something doesn't mean your system learned something new. Psychologists have been pointing to this gap for years. John Bowlby showed that the way we connect with others is shaped early in life, not just in thought, but in expectation, in the nervous system, in what feels safe and what doesn't. And researchers like Bessel van der Kolk explain it even more directly. The body keeps the score, which means your mind can understand something logically while your body is still reacting to an older reality. This is why the pattern keeps repeating, even when you can see it clearly. You tell yourself you won't chase anymore, but the moment someone pulls away, something in you tightens. You say you're okay being alone until someone gets close, and suddenly you want to retreat. You promise yourself you'll communicate better, but when conflict happens, you shut down. Not because you don't know better, but because in that moment, your reaction isn't coming from awareness. It's coming from memory. From something your system learned long before you had words for it. That's the real gap. The gap between knowing and becoming. Awareness lives in your mind, but your patterns live in your responses. And that's why simply understanding yourself can feel like progress without creating real change. Because change doesn't happen when you explain the pattern. It happens when the pattern shows up and you respond differently inside it. Behavioral science explains this in a simple way. Daniel Kahneman described two systems. One that is slow, conscious, and thoughtful. And another that is fast, automatic, and emotional. Most of your reactions, especially in relationships, come from that second system, which means you can know better consciously. and still react in a completely different way, automatically. Because awareness doesn't override conditioning. Practice does. And this is where most people get stuck. Because real change doesn't happen when you're thinking about your patterns. It happens in the exact moment they get activated.
So next time you feel triggered, don't analyze it immediately. Do something different. Notice what your system wants to do. Does it want to chase, withdraw, shut down? And instead of reacting automatically, pause. Even for a few seconds. Because that pause is where change begins. Not in understanding the pattern, but in interrupting it. You're not stuck because you don't understand yourself. You're stuck because you haven't practiced being different in the moment it actually matters. This is the work of the inner room. Not to tear apart what you've built, but to gently, carefully open the rooms you've kept locked. If this made you see something in yourself, subscribe and share your experience with us in the comments. Because this is what we do here. I'll see you in the next room.